Hey folks, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink, and today's topic is 3 smooth jazz phrasing tricks. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, and you join the HPCrazy Guitar Academy. The link is in the description box below. So, what is this about? You want to be smooth, you want to play smooth jazz, and you want to have cool phrasing tricks. That's about this. So these were now the licks we're going to talk about, but we don't talk only about the licks. We're going to talk about how you make phrasing, how you want to make it sound smooth, and the tricks behind it. It's just the examples. I have something in my eye. But of course, my teaching style is always that that you understand what you're doing and that you can create your own things. As an example with these licks, but I'm not that so much of a lick player. I'm more the guy who likes to understand stuff, and that's what it's about, to understand how to make a nice phrasing. In this case, it's a 1-6-2-5 progression in D major. Later on the backing track it switches to E major, but it's the same 1-6-2-5 progression. And in this case, since it's 2 chords per bar, we play the major pentatonics of the major scale, and we don't go too much on the chords, which makes totally sense in this case. So you only need to know the D major pentatonic and the D major scale. Now what I'm going to show you now. Alright, many of you always ask me about my sound settings, and on smooth jazz I often use a reverse delay. I switched off now. A lot of reverb, but you don't hear reverb in the sound, you hear delays. And normal delay doesn't sound cool on smooth jazz, so I use a reverse delay. This will be this here. Hear that one? Yeah. So, to follow this tutorial, you need to know the D major pentatonics, which will be this one here. So this is the D, here's the D. So that will be that one here, and it's really convenient that you can play it in 16 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16 notes, 4 per beat. And if you practice the scale, try to already make the phrasing. Phrasing is always the way a whole thing sounds, where does it lead, and the way it moves. And when you do a scale exercise, don't only do just a scale, just try to do the phrasing. So you start soft and make a little line and go back, see? That's the difference if you just play like... Yeah, it's really hard for me to just play without phrasing. So just make this little movement in that. So that will be the D major scale or the D major pentatonics, and the D major scale will be this. Some of you probably already know that. And the same thing here, try to play in 60 notes. So, so that will be the minimum speed you need to really go into phrasing, because phrasing always happens with 60-note runs, and in smooth jazz, unfortunately, you need a certain ground speed that you can sound smooth, and not only that you can play the scale, that it has a certain movement in the scale you play. That means you have to have more reserves on your speed, that you can still add this extra movement in the scale. So now let's get started with my ideas of phrasing. They're really simple. Let me first put the backing track in a convenient position. So it will be here that I can play this stuff. Okay. One thing which really works nicely with the D major scale, let me also zoom in a little bit more. So, what's really convenient is hammer-on licks. They're really simple, you already know them. In 16 notes, so taka taka da, taka taka da, taka, so. Just move them up and then stop. It's really simple. In 16 notes, that's the beat. It's really simple. Or the opposite, but I don't use the opposite so much, but you can make it as a practice. Also works, of course. So that's really simple, but now comes a trick. You make a slight movement in the accent, so you play this, starts on 1, so taka taka da, 3, 4, taka taka da, that will be the speed. But now the second phrase doesn't start on the beat, it starts on the off beat, so there'll be taka taka da, taka taka da, taka taka da, taka taka da. First do it like this, without playing, taka taka da, taka taka da, shoko toko do, and then see how this works in the sound. You can just move it up with this simple phrasing trick, just move the accent from on beat to off beat, and then it sounds totally different. And to finish the phrase, you probably make something like this. And then with a very simple method, it's technically not difficult, you have something which is really nice. Also works the opposite way, but I personally don't really like it, so I will not do that way. But of course, if you want, it's the same method. You just move the accent. It's really simple, and you can do it from any position, from your pentatonic, and it's not really hard. And just you have to have your hammer-ons going on, but you also can do it with picking. That would be it's the same thing, but in this case, to make it sound more smooth. Let's see the difference between hammer-ons and picking. It's a slight difference. What also works, if you want to have the difference displayed in your playing, you can select one. For me, the one with the hammer-on sounds more smooth. If you want to have it more smooth, then like, I don't know, like really smooth movements, then you select that one. And if you want to have more direct, then you have it with the picking. It's up to you, but it's just to see these slight differences, which really can make a difference. Now, another thing which works is this little phrase, also in 16 notes, starting here. So it's a little sequence from this. You play the first note twice, so daga daga, daga 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 da, and then pull off. Same as before. 16 note with pull off, and the second time it's played, as I already said. Either it sounds smoother, more direct, you can also mix it up. So the first is pull off, the second is with picking. And then finish the phrase. Something like this. Sounds really nice. Let me see. You can also move this thing down in the scale, of course, but somehow makes more sense up here. You can make this as a little sequence run and just move this figure down. And at a certain point you need to resolve it. You can resolve it anywhere, of course. You can play till down, it's up to you. But one possible thing would be just down one octave till you're down here. Let's see how that sounds. Really nice one. Yeah, that's really nice. So this really is works nicely. One thing which also works nice is a trick that we were always working with 16 runs. Phrasing stuff is always with 16 runs because 8 runs are not fast enough. They don't create this kind of phrasing thing. It's always 16 runs. Until now, they always started on the beat. But you can also start on the second 16 note, or in this case on the, you count it 1, 2, 3, 4. You start on the second 16 of count 4. In this case we just play the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you end up somewhere, in this case here. Or you can do anything, but as long as it starts on the second 16 note. Let's see how that sounds. Now let's count through. 1, 2, 3. See how that works? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I missed it. 3. It doesn't mean you have to start always on the second 16 note of the 4. Sounds the best, but you can start anywhere on the second 16 note of any counting time. And if you do that, I'm going to show you now, then the accent moves. You know, it can move. It sounds different when you start on certain counting times. Let's do this now. We start with 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's start on the 1 and 3, 4, 1. On the 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. On the 3, 1, 2, 3. You see, by shifting the point where you start, a phrase can sound totally different. Let's make an easier one here. This is a shorter one, but also starts on the second 16 note. Let's do again 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like this, or let's do that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's put these things together. Then you already sound very, very smooth. Of course, you need to have the runs fluent and that you have always these little movements, as I already said at the beginning, inside that stuff. And then that's what brings you to the quam. Now the question to you guys, what is the quam? I'm going to resolve it at the end of the tutorial. Well, let's start from the very beginning. We're mixing up all these things which we did now with some simple melodies with pentatonics. Now we start. There were 3 phrasing tricks, smooth as phrasing tricks, which are pretty simple to understand, pretty simple to play, since they're not so complicated. As I said, you need a certain speed, otherwise you cannot do phrasing. That's the bad news, but that's the only bad news. But then it's just stay smooth, relaxed, and make combinations of those playing techniques, and you're going to be fine. In this case, you just can stay on the D major scale. With the backing track, you also move on to E. Later, you just move the whole thing up 2 frets. And now we're coming to the thing where you want to get the backing track. It's by the way, it's a song of mine. It's called Grabble. With the 2 B's. Grabble. Yeah. What I wanted to say. Yeah, the backing track and the tabs are available in the HPCrazy Guitar Academy. There you also find my only news feed, which I'm doing on my own website, my personal website. There's the guitar school and more news about me, more detailed. And you can also start to interact with other students there. Join there, make the basic free account just for discussions. For downloads, you need to make the premium membership upgrade. Now we come to the big question, what's the quam? I heard it in the movie. I like the expression. The quam is the point in time and space where music and emotions come together to one perfect thing, which evolves in the world and creates happiness. And what's music about? That's the quam, the moment where you bring all your sorrows together to one, and your fears and everything disappears, and you just play music. That's the quam. That's what you're working on, to reach the quam. Yeah. Good. One more to say. I'm going to play a version now for you, a little bit more. And as I said, the track is available. It's called Grabble. I don't know under which surname it's there. HPCrazy or Hans-Peter Krüsi possible. I don't really remember. It's an old track, but it's really nice for smooth jazz. Good. Let's go into the quam.